Live.
The reset. It's a brilliant strike.
That's incredible from Julia Zigliotti.
Can she finish? Of course she can. Blocked brilliantly by Buchanan. And it's stabbed in.
Chelsea, FA Cup winners 2022.
Today's Vitality FA Cup semi-final sees both ends of the WSL represented. It's top Manchester United against bottom side Brighton and Hove Albion. Neither of them have ever reached a final. So who is going to grab this opportunity to walk out under the famous Wembley Arch in a month's time?
The Vitality Women's FA Cup, Manchester United
versus Brighton and Hove Albion.
Manchester United with all the pressure on their shoulders. The reset with a stunning effort.
In towards goal and it will go in.
And headed in, Bilda Barisa.
Lee with a chance. What a goal.
A wonderful goal. Manchester United and the Albion through to the FA Cup semi-finals.
Manchester United are currently riding high and looking for their first trophy since WSL promotion. Could this be their year? Earps, Russo, Letitia and Toon all in the starting lineup after returning from recent Lioness duty. Newly appointed Melissa Phillips is hoping a win for Brighton today could help save a tumultuous season. She's made one change to the team that lost to Manchester United 2 weeks ago. Turland is in and Connolly is out and on the bench. It's the first of the Vitality Women's FA Cup semi-finals this weekend, with Manchester United taking on Brighton and Hove Albion, and kick-off is in just over 10 minutes' time. Welcome to the Lee Sports Village, almost in the sunshine. It's certainly a lot warmer than it has been of late, and to watch this one and enjoy it with me are Julie Flaherty, 7-time FA Cup winner, alongside former England and Brighton Hove Albion manager Hope Powell. Good to see you both here. Julie, this Manchester United side have barely put a foot wrong, have they, this season? More goals, more wins, top of the table, you know, looking really good for a trophy this season. It's all about keeping that momentum going.
Yeah, they've been brilliant this season. Obviously, it's difficult for both teams because they're just coming off the back of the international break. You know, they've had players away, they've had smaller squads, but they're probably positive for both of them is that they played each other before the break, so they would have an idea how each other play. Obviously, Man United got the win in that one, but it's the beauty of the FA Cup, you know, it's a knockout game, so they'll just be focusing on themselves, you know, they know they're good enough to get the result today, but like I said, it's the FA Cup.
They got the win in that one, and they got the win in the one before as well. In fact, they've only had one win in 10 against Manchester United. 2 4-0s they've had in their last 2 meetings. I guess the job is to turn that round. How do they do that?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, to be honest. This is a bit of a fortress coming here. But I think they've just got to try and express themselves, probably play a little bit higher up rather than sit back and defend, and really go for it. The expectation would be, I think, for Man United to win the game. So I guess, you know, Brighton, new manager, new environment, new everything. It really gives the players a chance to express themselves and really just have a go.
Yeah, players having a go and, of course, proving themselves to a new manager. It could be the recipe for an upset. We shall see. I wonder when they were going to put the sprinklers on. I'm glad they did it just as we came on air there. So your first task as a new manager, for Melissa Phillips that is to go away to Manchester United, the league leaders, in an FA Cup semi-final. Some task indeed. Let's hear from the managers, starting with her. She's with Joe Curry.
Melissa, welcome back to England. You've come back to Brighton when the club's been in a bit of a tricky situation. You've been manager for just 8 days now. During that time, what's been your focus?
Yeah, I think it's about bringing the group together and learning myself and understanding as much as I can about where we're at and where we need to go. So we've had a lot of really good conversations about building an identity and building belief in the group. So I think there's a lot of opportunity left in the season. We want to make a good account of ourselves, both today and in the league fixtures.
Your last game out before the international break, you thumped Brighton. You've made one change to the starting 11 from that game. What's the thoughts behind bringing in Lucia Garcia?
Lucia's been excellent and really has deserved a start. There's some thought behind whether she's been impacting brilliantly, so it's thought of whether to start or not. But she has the ability to go 1v1 against anyone in the league and really, start to give the wave and momentum we want. So she's in from the start. I thought Vilda was good in the game, picked up some really good positions, but we've just had a slight adaptation in tactics.
Best of luck, Mark. Enjoy today.
Thank you.
Let's go behind the scenes a bit, shall we, with Brighton and Hove Albion. It's been an unsettled time. Jens Schur was in the job for just 65 days, and Melissa Phillips comes in with just a week to get this team ready. She's relatively inexperienced, 35 years old, done a lot of coaching in the States. I guess it's as much the players finding out about her as it is her finding out about the players.
Yeah, all very new for her. I think I could only imagine she only had a couple of days to prepare for this one, but I must say they got some of the backroom staff still there. Amy Merricks has been there for a considerable amount of time. The players really respect her and know her. So she would have been given a lot of information. I think her coming in now, certainly today, is about assessing where they're at, having a look at players. The expectation, as I said before, would be for Man United to win the game. So really, she's just going to have a strong overview and see what she perhaps probably needs to focus on more for the league. Although today there's everything to play for, but the priority will definitely be the league.
They want to score goals. They didn't in the last two meetings. Could Katie Robinson be the key to that, to their attack? She's been a real bright spark, 14 goals so far in this campaign, just come off the back of being in an England squad as well for the first time this season.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the goals, obviously she's got the most assists, the most chances created and the most touch in the opposition box as well for Brighton. So she is a live wire. She's going to be the player that they're going to look for today to drive them forward. But I think what United done really well in the previous league game was they stopped the service to her and it frustrated Brighton. But again, Brighton need to get more bodies in the box as well when she's putting in the crosses because I think they fell short of that in the previous game as well. But they're going to be looking at her today to drive them on.
Well, a player who's going to be trying to stop her today used to wear the Brighton shirt, of course, Maya Le Tissier. Moved from Brighton to Manchester United, and Sarah Mulkerrins has been chatting to her.
I was just down in Brighton and my agent called me and was like, oh, United are interested. And I was like, nah, shut up, that's not true, surely not. I spoke with Mark and was really excited with the ambition and kind of the values that the club have, and yeah, I thought let's just give it a shot.
Maya Le Tissier grabs the goal.
Playing at Brighton, I loved it and it really helped me a lot, especially playing under Hope. The kind of defensive side of the game, I really kind of understood and knew my role in various positions, so I think that was really good and I really did enjoy it there. Hope took her chance with me and I was only 16 and she threw me straight into the deep end kind of, so I'm really honoured that she kind of put her trust in me. Obviously coming to United now, it's a really different game plan and different kind of, I suppose, tactical and technical kind of qualities and stuff, but of course when all of the Lionesses came back in, I thought, wow, I can't believe I'm on the same team as you. I think kind of as a young player, going into the England setup, they're European champions for a reason and every single player in the squad is unbelievable. So to get my first cap was so cool and all my family were there as well, so it was really nice. Yeah, obviously the World Cup's there, but I can just focus on what I do at club and the run we've been on has been great. This weekend is going to be an even bigger challenge and probably one of our hardest yet, but if we focus on our kind of performance as a team and as individuals, and the result will take care of itself. I think to play in these games is what us as footballers, we kind of really thrive off, so it's going to be so exciting, I can't wait.
Well, she grew up playing football with the boys in Guernsey, but Hope, she speaks about you fondly there because you spotted the talent as a 16-year-old, gave her a chance. Tell us about that development that you saw and did with her over those 4 years.
Yeah, what a player. I knew instantly that she could make it, basically. She's so thirsty to be better, works hard every day, a willing learner, and has the ability to put things into practice and have a go. loves the big games, loves the challenges, and I really think she's got a super future in this game, a real talent.
Yeah, and that's a really big move for her, obviously, to Manchester United, especially at a time when, you know, they're looking for trophies. Just perfectly, her career's kind of gone the perfect trajectory, hasn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, not when I was at Brighton, though. We tried desperately to keep her there, but obviously it was only a matter of time. You know, when Man United came in, big club, you know, she wanted the challenge, and I think she's risen to the challenge. She started every WSL game, and, you know, and can only get better.
Manchester United have conceded the fewest goals this season. They've got a fantastic record as well with clean sheets. That defensive pairing that she has, Maya Le Tissier with Millie Turner, is key, isn't it, to that?
Yeah, and it's the consistency of being able to build a relationship with someone. I mean, playing as a centre-back myself, it was so crucial to be able to have regular partner alongside you. You know, you get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you can bounce off each other, and when one steps in, the other one's covering. And I think it helps that Millie Turner's an experienced centre-back. Obviously, she's a little bit older than Maya Le Tissier as well, so it's got the good balance in that sense. But you see Maya's a bit braver and wants to step in, but Millie's there covering her and stepping in and clearing up, and that's what you need as a centre-back partnership.
Yeah, that partnership that the Lionesses will also hope that they're going to benefit from in terms of her development, just making her way into that England squad. It's a big year, isn't it, to kind of put your hand up, and that's what this occasion is for as well, isn't it? Players who are on the fringes, you know, showing that they can step up on big cup final and cup semi-final days.
Yeah, and it's great for, obviously, she's been able to play consistently as well. She's not moved from Brighton, where she was playing a lot, and coming here and sitting on the bench. She's playing and she's starting, and she's only 20 years of age. You know, there's such a big future for her in the game.
Well, the crowd are hungry for this one. 4,000, over 4,000 expected at the Lee Sports Village. So let's get on with the action then. The first of the women's semi-finals this weekend in the FA Cup, the Vitality FA Cup. Siobhan Chamberlain, former England international, is alongside Vicky Sparks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thanks Gabby. Hello everyone, and welcome to this Women's FA Cup semi-final, a game in which both sides stand on the brink of history. Neither Manchester United nor Brighton have ever won a major trophy. Indeed, neither side has ever reached a major final. But for one of these teams, the wait, for the latter at least, will end here this evening. One woman who knows what it feels like to lift an FA Cup is Siobhan Chamberlain, who won this competition with Arsenal back in 2014. Siobhan, this is a huge opportunity for both of these sides.
It is. It's a massive opportunity to get to play at Wembley. Is phenomenal. It's an exciting showpiece moment of the game, and both teams will be out there raring to go. Manchester United, obviously the favourites today, but for Brighton, an opportunity to kind of forget about their league campaign so far, go out there and put on a brilliant performance to get to Wembley.
Well, Manchester United make one change from the side. They beat Brighton 4-0 2 weeks ago in the Women's Super League. Spain attacker Lucia Garcia, who's netted 3 goals in her last 2 games, replaces Vilda-Boa-Risa. Former Brighton players Maya Le Tissier and Alessia Russo, now key cogs in this Manchester United side. Both start, as does Leah Galton, who has been a real thorn in the Seagulls side of late. She has scored 4 goals in her last 3 games against them. Brighton also make one change from that defeat. Elizabeth Turland replacing Megan Connolly as they revert to a back 4. Top scorer Danielle Carter has predominantly been used as a substitute this season, and the 4-time FA Cup winner will hope to make an impact again from the bench. Dejana Stefanovic and Kaylee Green also make the matchday squad after recovering from injury. Well, as you mentioned, Siobhan, Manchester United are the favourites for this one, and this woman in red's hot form, particularly against Brighton. She just loves scoring against them.
She does, and she's just made her 100th appearance for Manchester United. She's full of confidence, and when you're playing up against a confident Leah Galton, you know she's not just going to run at you, she's not just going to create assists, she's going to unleash shots, and they are powerful shots. I can speak from experience in training, and that's why she scored so many goals this season. It's something that I wanted to see in her game a little bit more, and she's definitely bringing that this season.
Yep, she's the joint top scorer for Manchester United this season, along with Alessia Russo. Well, if we talk about how Brighton can hurt Manchester United this evening, Katie Robinson will be at the heart of that. And you think particularly, Siobhan, that match-up with Hannah Blundell?
Yeah, she had such a positive impact in the game when they played just a couple of weeks ago in the league. Manchester United came out comfortable winners, but Katie Robinson was the one that caused Manchester United problems. She just needs a little bit more support up alongside her to be able to find the back of the net, as she can't do it all by herself, unfortunately.
So Kirsty Dowell, our woman in the middle for this one, took charge of the FA Cup final last season as the players take the knee along with the officials and staff at the start of this match. The message against racism still clear. So we are off and underway in this Women's FA Cup semi-final. A place at Wembley on the line. A first major final awaits for one of these sides. Early touch for Mary Earps of Manchester United. That victory over Brighton in their last league match 2 weeks ago. The second time they've beaten them 4-0 this season. And it can't help but play on your mind as an opposition player.
No, it can't. When you've conceded 4 in 2 games to the same opposition, it's difficult to then go into it with a positive mindset. But for Brighton, they've got a brand new manager. It's all a fresh start. It's an opportunity to forget about their league campaign so far. So it's a bit of a free pass today. Go out there, enjoy it, prove yourself, and try and get yourself to Wembley.
Yes, first match in charge for Melissa Phillips, who has only been at the club since last Friday, the former London City Lionesses manager. Real season of upheaval for Brighton. Toon's ball is cut out. All the way back to Lydia Williams. That was a choice as well for Melissa Phillips to make in terms of the goalkeeping situation. Lydia Williams arriving at the club in January, has largely been #1 since then, but Megan Walsh playing well in the quarter-final victory over Birmingham.
It's always a difficult position being a goalkeeper. Speaking as a former keeper, when you're in, you're normally in, and it's hard to find your way in. You normally have sometimes have a cup goalkeeper and a league goalkeeper, so I'm sure Megan Walsh will be incredibly frustrated after putting in a good performance. But you can see as a new manager, you come in, you say, I want to see my league goalkeeper potentially show what she can do.
Here is the former Brighton defender, Maya Letitia. Badger's made the run down the right. Here she is now on Abacha of Spain. Her compatriot Lucia Garcia there with her. Letitia will pick it up once more. Looking for the run of Galton through the centre. Just about dealt with by Brighton. Pattinson will clear away. Here's Sarri. But already we're seeing the danger of Leah Galton.
We are, but also for me, it's the danger of Maya Letitia. I think Brighton are very well aware of it. Obviously, we've spoken that she's signed from Brighton, but they've dropped off early. They know how good her delivery is in behind. And you saw that ball to Leah Galton there, onto her chest. Here, she picks it up, gets her head up and delivers that ball straight onto Leah Galton's chest. She will do that time and time again. So Brighton need to be switched onto that long ball from her from the very beginning.
Well, that's it. They know all about the vision and the delivery of the player who won back-to-back Young Player of the Year awards with Brighton before departing for Manchester United last summer. Met her release clause, Manchester United, nothing that Brighton could do about it. But as Hope Powell was telling us before the match, it was one of those for Brighton that they knew that a player with that quality would look for pastures new, opportunities new at some point, and it's rewarded her with that break into the England squad.
It definitely has, and you always know as a player when they come into the squad setup as a young player, if they kind of take it.
Here goes Katie Robinson, another looking to take her opportunity with England and Brighton. Movement just off from Brighton's attack in the penalty area, but there, early on, Siobhan, what you were saying, the danger that Katie Robinson can cause Manchester United's left flank.
Yeah, and we're talking there about Maya Letitia being a young player coming into the system and doing really well. Katie Robinson is another, and she'll be the target for Brighton on that right wing for them. Can they find her as their outlet?
Here is Lee. Squeezes it through to Sarri. Dangerous ball in. Manchester United just about get enough on it. Galton will complete that clearance. Promising though for Brighton.
a really promising start from Brighton. But when you play against a team in the confidence with the ability of Manchester United, when you get those kind of opportunities, you need to make Mary Earps work.
Lovely turn by the Brighton captain, Giulia Zigiotti. Turner. Here is Blundell. Galton. Letizia. Plenty of players on the shoulder of the Brighton defence. Lovely take by Galton. Good sliding challenge by Zoe Morse. And Brighton will steer it up to Katie Robinson.
It was that same ball again that time, the cross-field diagonal from Maya Letizia, looking for Leah Galton, playing on the back shoulder of the defender. That's what starts the attack. Brighton are dropping off because they know the impact that Letizia can have with the long ball, but the accuracy she's got with it still causes them problems.
Here is Lee.
It's going to be a hard test for Georgia Fox today. We can see here the Brighton attack, really clever play from Lee on this left-hand side. Just couldn't manage to get to the ball first, to get a contact, and as I said, to create an opportunity and make Mary Earps make a save.
Well, they have been so strong defensively, Manchester United. They have the best defence in the WSL this season. Clean sheets in both their encounters with Brighton this campaign. Batchy. Russo on the chase. Kuhlberg will get there for Brighton. Finds Pattinson. Vance won't reach it. Here is Toon. Vance forwards. Garcia. Close down by Pattinson, but Garcia does well in turn. Certainly worthy of the start that she's been given by Mark Skinner.
Most definitely, and it's going to be a crowd pleaser as well. I know a lot of the Manchester United fans have been wanting to see a little bit more of her. So here's her opportunity to show what she can do from the start. We all know, as Mark Skinner said, what she can do when she comes in off the bench. And sometimes players are better as an impact player. So here's her opportunity to say, Mark Skinner, I want you to start me regularly.
Batchin. Interesting to see as well how that Spanish connection plays out down the right-hand side for Manchester United between Batchin and Garcia. Down the left they go, though. Here's Galton. Intercepted by Georgia Fox, on loan from Chelsea. Lee's opportunity to play the ball looking for Turland. Turner is there. It's calmly done.
You heard Gilly Flaherty in the pre-match build-up talk about the consistency and how important it is as a centre-back pairing to play alongside each other regularly. And you could see the confidence that as a trio, Letizia, Turner and Mary Earps have in each other. No concern whatsoever there with that through ball by Millie Turner. Just plays it straight back to the Mary Earps, who then plays it through.
There's Garcia chasing this one over the top. Just a little bit too much on it, but again, the forwards of Manchester United really playing on the shoulders of that Brighton back line.
Yeah, they are playing on the shoulders, but Brighton are dropping quite deep quite early on. Sometimes you can say, we'll play that high line, try and keep the game compact. But for Brighton, they're dropping off. They know that how dangerous that more direct ball is from Brighton, but it gives the opportunity to find Ella Toone in those gaps.
Decent starts, though, from her side. Melissa Phillips taking charge of her first match with Brighton. Wasn't in charge for the 4-0 defeat, therefore, by Manchester United. Has reviewed that game since arriving. Says she didn't think that 4-0 was representative of Brighton's performance. Felt that for 60 or 70 minutes they were well organised, but there were defensive lapses as well, which cost them. And they'll have to cut those out at Leigh Sports Village if they are to reach their first major final. That's what Manchester United are aiming for as well. Very much the favourites, the WSL leaders. Pattinson's clearance, Toone on the volley.
It's a great delivery here by Katie Zellem. Pattinson could have done better with the clearance, but luckily for her, Ella Toone absolutely rifles over with that left foot. Had it fallen on her right foot, it might have been a different story, but I think Brighton would want Pattinson to potentially clear to a slightly less dangerous area.
Here is Pattinson getting forward, but wayward pass. And Blundell has it for Manchester United. Now Galton. Batty. Garcia. Zellem. Little miscontrol allows Robinson to steal, finds Lee. Zellem again inadvertently plays it straight to Katie Robinson. Sarri's up there, Turland as well. Letitia is there against her former club. Brighton corner.
Brighton's best moment of the game so far, and good defending by Maya Letitia in the end. But it's Katie Robinson who's that thorn in the side again, causing problems for Katie Zellem in that midfield. Plays off the back shoulder of Millie Turner, and I'd like to see her go direct, go 1v1. She's got the pace, she's got the skill, she's got the ability. Go 1v1 against Millie Turner into the box, and if she has to tackle you in there, she could bring you down for a penalty.
So corner to Brighton. Short option is there, but it was swung in. Good punch by Earps. Toone with the header. Bantz will get there for Brighton. Did well there, Libby Bantz. Lee Gu-min will pick it up. They're waiting in the centre. Turn her away for Manchester United, and Toone will latch onto this. Rousseau, her England teammate, ahead of her. Here is Zellem. And you just feel with those set pieces, Siobhan, Brighton have to make the most of them.
They do. As I said before, when you're playing against a team that's full of confidence up at the top of the league, regardless of whether it's league or cup, when you get opportunities, you need to be clinical with them, you need to be ruthless, and at least make the goalkeeper make a save.
Galton conceding the free kick. It's good work again by Lee Gu-min.
It was. She's been very good for Brighton these opening few minutes. It's going to be a difficult task for them today, but she's been a player that's definitely looking full of confidence today.
Given away to Hayley Ladd. Garcia tried the first time pass. We'll come back to her. Garcia again, looking to play in Toone again. But again, just as at the other end, perhaps, she could have taken that on herself into the penalty area.
Yeah, I think had Ella Toone continued her run, it would have been a brilliant through ball. But as it was, weren't quite on the same wavelength.
But already she is showing why Mark Skinner has decided to give her a start this evening.
She definitely is. She's got so much pace. She's got the skill. She's a finisher as well. We've seen that in the games where she's come on. But it's a tough job for Mark Skinner at the moment. He's got a lot of talented players there, especially in those wide and forward positions, that want to be on the pitch.
Yes, and those tough decisions and that competition in the squad evinced by the fact that Adriana Leon has just gone out on loan, particularly in a World Cup year as well. So hard to keep players content and happy. Of course, no player is content being on the bench, but keeping them part of the squad, connected in with what's going on, because everybody wants game time.
I think as an attacking player, as a forward, it's slightly easier. You have that rotation. You'll come on at half-time, potentially 60 minutes. As a defender, as a goalkeeper especially, it's a lot more difficult. You're either in or you're out.
There speaks the former England goalkeeper, Siobhan Chamberlain. But you look at the strength that there is on the bench and the player that jumps out immediately in terms of that game time. Nikita Parris, not in the latest England squad. Again, her World Cup place heading into the tournament this summer. Certainly not guaranteed, and she is one of those players that will be desperate to put her stamp on the final few weeks of the season. She was part of the squad that won the Euros last summer, but you can never take anything for granted, particularly not with Serena Wigman.
No, you can't, and she's a very experienced player who brings a lot to a squad. And especially in the FA Cup campaign this season for Manchester United, she's been scoring goals. So she'll be frustrated that she's not on the pitch, but I'm sure she'll get her opportunity. Mark tends to make changes in that wide right position, that the attacking players, he makes rotations, whether it's 60 minutes, whether she gets a half hour. It's her opportunity to prove it.
Lead away by Turner once more. And she has scored in every round of the FA Cup this season, Nikita Parris for Manchester United.
Brighton at the moment looking really comfortable in their shape. They know that they've got this back four, they've got the rigidity in front of it, and they're making it quite difficult for Manchester United to break through them.
Yes, they went with a 5 for much of the league game, but switching to match up Manchester United in this game, but they are managing to get forward as well in this formation, and that will please Melissa Phillips. Batche. Garcia. Turning away from Pattinson, and Hayley Ladd. Ladd's ball over the head of Alessia Russo, bounces there ahead of Garcia. Pattinson will clear. Picked on by Turland. Turner there ahead of Lee.
As I said, Brighton defending really well. They're really comfortable. They're not being stretched out of their position. But as I said earlier, they're dropping quite deep quite early, which creates pockets in between those lines. And players like Katie Zellem, players like Ella Toon, that's where you want them to be picking it up, finding the ball in those gaps and creating opportunities.
Sari's ball through the centre. You could see Lee look to the skies, because almost, and again, it's fine margins here for Brighton. They really are committing the bodies forward. Nothing to lose in this match. They're bottom of the WSL. Manchester United are top, but this is the FA Cup. And they are a team that look as though they're playing without pressure.
They are. They're definitely not a team that looks like they're bottom of the WSL right now in a relegation battle. They're playing with confidence. They're getting bodies, as you said, high up the pitch. They're committing bodies to the attack, but they're also being resolute defensively. They're in shape, they know their jobs, and they look organised.
Pattinson there ahead of Garcia. Ladd will pick it up for Manchester United. Here is Battier. Early delivery, Galton's there, wins the header. Garcia underneath it. Can she get the shot away? She can. It's well blocked. Cleared up to Turland, who lays it off to Lee Gu-min. And all of a sudden, Brighton are breaking. Turland. Letitia there with her. Early ball in away by Turner. And Battier with the time to turn.
That was the wrong pass from Lee for me. When you look at the speed of Robinson, she was there on that right-hand side, slide her in, and she had the beating of Hannah Blundell. I think for me, Turland didn't really have the pace to cause Letitia problems and it's a massive let-off there for Manchester United, but fantastic opportunity for Brighton and will give them confidence moving forwards now.
Well, they are in such excellent form at the moment. Manchester United won 6 of their last 7 games, just 1 defeat in their last 16. But Brighton really posing some questions here with the WSL leaders. Miscue though by Libby Bance, and Garcia is onto it sharply. Here is Hayley Ladd. Russo's in the centre. Ladd still going. Garcia will drive. Cleared away. Letizia. Suddenly Manchester United pushing the bodies forward, but the offside flag is up. And Brighton have the set piece.
A good opportunity there for Manchester United to get a little bit more possession higher up the pitch. Brighton have had some good moments at the moment, most of it coming through Lee. But here we see as they make that break, with the speed of those wide players, it was almost 3-on-1 at the back there, but for me, she's got to go the other side. Just plays it a little bit too wide. It gives Turland a little bit too much to do. The other side, and Katie Robinson, although she's behind her, she has definitely got the speed to make up that ball. And it's on her favoured right foot, ready for a strike.
Here is Kuhlberg for Brighton. Back to Lydia Williams. I did give a slight nod to the goalkeepers union earlier, Siobhan, but it is a key point. Lydia Williams a case in point in terms of game time. Here is Robinson. Turland's in the centre. Again, Turner is there. Her positioning has been on point for Manchester United so far in this semi-final, and it's had to be.
It has, and again, it's Katie Robinson down that right-hand side that's causing problems for that Manchester United back line. She got in behind Hannah Blundell here. It's a fantastic turn, but it's her speed that gets her there. Millie Turner does really well to defend the space. She doesn't get dragged out. She gets herself in a good position around that near post area and prevents any balls coming into the central area, which is brilliant defending from Turner.
Well, long trip up from the south coast for those Brighton fans, but I'm sure they're enjoying the performance that their side is putting in at the moment. It's been impressive from Brighton. And you called it before the match, Siobhan. That looks as though it's developing into the key battle. Katie Robinson up against Hannah Blundell, certainly for Brighton.
It is, but from that wide right position, unless she's through in on goal, which doesn't happen regularly when you're out wide, you need the support centrally. She needs Lee, she needs Turland to be there when she creates those opportunities and can whip the ball into the box.
Here come Manchester United. Toon, Garcia. This is dangerous. Well, blocked away by Pattinson. Garcia still has it. And the sliding challenge by Pattinson is given as a corner. Well, Garcia might feel there was a little more in that.
It was definitely a strong challenge. But we see here, she gets the ball. It's the follow through that you've got to be questioning. You can understand why Garcia's on the floor in quite a bit of pain there originally. Thankfully she's got up and she is okay. Pattinson definitely won the ball. It is a corner, but the follow through is questionable.
Yeah, it's the amount of contact she gets on the ball there, I think, that is why Kirsty Dowler said, all right then, but as you say, difficult one in terms of the follow through for Garcia to deal with, but fortunately she's all right. Manchester United have the corner. Set piece specialist Katie Zellem, the captain, is over it. Here is Zellem's delivery over the head of Millie Turner. Letizia will pick it up on a batcher on the edge of the D. Looks as though she was maybe expecting that ball to come to her. Possible training ground routine there, but Millie Turner, we know, is so dangerous from those sort of areas. Here is Toon as Manchester United keep up the pressure. Batcher. Blundell. Wilson's out there. Header is won by Beatriki Sari. Manchester United throw.
We can see the penalty shout here potentially. I mean, you could see the referee giving that. She has won the ball, but she takes her standing leg with her follow-through leg, and it's a heavy, heavy challenge. It's dangerous and it is reckless, regardless of her winning the ball.
Decision is goal kick on this occasion for Brighton. Well, she certainly looked in pain, Garcia, but there weren't huge protests towards our referee, Kirsty Dowell, although...
There weren't, and I think when you win the ball cleanly to start with, then it makes you feel as a referee, as potentially teammates, well, it's definitely a corner ball, but it's the follow-through that's got to be seen as well.
Here goes Kuhlberg, pursued by Garcia. Bounces off Lee to Ladd. That's just pointing to where she wants it. Millie Ladd instead will go back to Millie Turner. Letitia. Batcher.
Ona Badje is a player we haven't really seen too much of so far in this game. In the games against Brighton before, she's been getting high up the pitch, causing problems in offensive areas. At the moment, she hasn't been delivering many balls. There was one delivery to that back post space which caused problems for Brighton, but if Manchester United want to get a little bit more into this game, create more opportunities, I think for me, Badje getting higher up the pitch is key to that.
Here goes Alatoon. Zigiotti is there with her. Toon eventually falls backwards. A bit of a scramble inside the area, and what a save that is by Lydia Williams. No wonder she's being congratulated. That was top draw. Manchester United so close to the breakthrough.
We asked the question pre-game about which goalkeeper would be playing. Lydia Williams is definitely worth her value in goal from that save. It's a fantastic stop. She doesn't see it until late. It goes through bodies, but reacts superbly well to tip that over the crossbar.
Well, she struggled at times in the league game against Manchester United, but that is as good a save as you will see from Alessia Russo, and that will do her the world of good as well, Williams. Corner taken short by Manchester United. Pushing for this opener, Batcher's delivery. Russo's in there again. Sarri away for Brighton.
We talk about goal scorers getting all the glory. That is as good as a goal for me. Without that save, it's in the back of the net. It wasn't one she was expected to save. It's a brilliant save, so she deserves all the applause that she gets from that, and will give her confidence going into the rest of the game after, as you said, a few question marks over her performance in the league game a couple of weeks ago.
Manchester United, though, with their tails up. They've come close. Two. Here is Hayley Ladd. Letitia. Batcher. Squeezes it through to Garcia. Steps away from Zigiotti and Pattinson beautifully. Can she find the delivery? Galton across, and Williams just does enough. Not quite as convincing that time, but still the same outcome. It's a save. It's a Manchester United corner.
You're right, not quite as convincing, but it's not in the back of the net. She's made the save. Earned her luck from the last save that she made. Just about clawed that across. I think the attacking play, I think it was Alessia Russo, potentially trying to come in at that back post space, was in her eye line, but she's got to do better there. She'll be very grateful to see that go the wrong side of the post and out for a corner.
Which Zellin will take, away by Lee. Batcher. Well, they dragged the shot, but yes, just that little lapse of concentration for Lydia Williams, and it could have been a very different story.
And that's the life of a goalkeeper. You make a wonder save in 1 minute, 2 minutes later, you could be making a mistake that causes your team to be 1-0 down. Not sure who would ever choose to be a goalkeeper. Other than myself, of course.
Well, it did win you an FA Cup, it got you an England career. A good choice, many would say, Siobhan Chamberlain. Sarri. Pattinson. Lovely turn by Beatrice Sari, but she's challenged well by Lads, although Sari doesn't quite think so. Blunder. Garcia. Still going, Lucia Garcia. Shots doesn't present itself, and Lee plays it to Sari. Turland will chase. Tissier all the way back to Mary Earps.
That's the release ball where you want Katie Robinson to be the player that's there to release with the speed. When you've got Millie Turner and Laetitia in good positions covering around behind, you need someone with a lot of pace to be able to exploit that opportunity. Unfortunately for Turland, she didn't have that pace to get her in behind.
Loose distribution by Hayley Ladd, and Georgia Fox will bring it forward for Brighton. Here's Lee Gumin. And now, Katie Robinson. Fox adding that extra body in the penalty area. Robinson does get the delivery across. Ladd with the time to clear. Zidiotti. Lee. Comes to Pattinson. Cleared away by Millie Turner. Zellem helps it on. Also with the control and sliding in there, trying to retain possession on Georgia Fox. Brighton have it. Zidiotti. Away from Zellem. Fox won't control Manchester United with the throw, but again Brighton really competing in that area of the park.
Yeah, a really good phase of play from Brighton. Their manager will, I'm sure, be pleased with the way they've executed this first half, but here we go back to that save. Doesn't have a lot of time to see it at all, but a full stretch, has a brilliant start position, keeps her balance, and gets that hand up, top hand, straight over that crossbar. An outstanding save. Gets better and better each time you see it.
We praise the quality of the save, the quality of the shot from Russo as well, to get that level of control on it as she's falling.
It was, I'm sure it is one that she thought as she hit it, this is nestling in the back of the net.
So free kick Manchester United. Just over half an hour gone. Still level between top and bottom in the WSL in this Women's FA Cup semi-final. Zellem with the delivery. Tissier's up there. Brighton not clearing convincingly. Lucia Garcia. Not the most convincing either. Sari with the distance this time. Zellem underneath it. Lovely control. Galton. Well challenged by Sari. They're really hunting in packs, Brighton. And it's paying off. Lee Gumin to Zidiotti. Loose pass though. Ladd is there. Here comes Battier. Russo getting ready to run. Battier's still going. Russo now offside. So Battier goes alone.
Good decision making there from Battier. You know that you could tell that she wanted to play the through ball to Alessia Russo, but Brighton were holding the line really well. Russo just kept straying just a little bit offside, so she did really well to hold on to it herself. Just couldn't get the power in the shot to cause any problems for Lydia Williams in goal. A comfortable save for her.
Battier with the throw. Kuhlberg's clearance. Well, in his own words, Manchester United have achieved nothing this season. Says Mark Skinner, we need to make sure that we earn everything. They are on the edge of glory. In the title race, one step from Wembley in a first major final, but being held here by a resolute Brighton and Hove Albion. You certainly get the feeling, Siobhan, that if they are to progress, they will have to earn it. against Brighton, as Russo has it. Garcia. Dangerous delivery. Galton was in there. Goal kick given.
They definitely will have to earn it. They've been made to work. Brighton are a lot more organised defensively than potentially they have been in the past in the last couple of games against United, when they found it a little bit easier to find those gaps. But credit to Brighton for how they've approached this game. You see here, they're marking really well. United only had 2 bodies attacking that ball. I think if you want to cause Brighton problems with the number of players they've got defensively set up, they're going to need to commit a few bodies more to the attack.
Uezelem saw the space for Garcia. It's an important header by Kuhlberg. Had almost steals it back. Gumin forward to Turland. Saw the run of Sarri. Robinson's through the centre. There goes via tricky Sarri. Turland's arriving as well. They've got the bodies forward again. Brighton, good save by Mary Earps. No, she's not kept it out. And Sarri for Brighton gives them a shock lead against Manchester United. Remarkable. Well, a goalkeeper of her quality, you'd expect to deal with that, but she wasn't able to. And Brighton have the reward for this first half performance in Melissa Phillips' first game in charge. What a moment.
They do have the reward, and it's nothing less than they deserve. They've been fantastic this first half. They've had to defend through large portions of the match, but they've attacked well. They've committed bodies forward to the attack as well, and they've earned this goal. Sarri here on the left-hand side, driving forward, cuts in field, and it's the shot that comes across. I'm not sure what Mary Earps was doing there. It's deflected back off her hand. It's a horrific mistake from her. She'll be the first to put her hands up and say, I've made a mistake. But it's about moving forwards from here. She's been brilliant so far this season. She's been brilliant for England. She's been brilliant for Manchester United. And this is an opportunity for her now to step up and be good again. It's difficult for a goalkeeper. You make a mistake and it's in the back of the net. And this is where her mentality gets tested.
And from that angle, it may even go down as a Mary Earps own goal, whether that ball in from Sarri was curling enough. Either way, Brighton ahead. And either way, Mary Earps, a player who has been a stalwart for them since arriving back in 2019, and for England under Serena Egan, is at fault.
Yeah, she's been brilliant, but as I said before when we were talking about Lydia Williams, the life of a goalkeeper, you make a worldie save 1 minute, 2 minutes later you could be at costing your team a goal. So it's the choice you make when you start your career as a goalkeeper.
Here come Manchester United looking for the immediate response with Russo! And almost getting that immediate response with Russo.
Positive play from Manchester United here, Blundell driving in, and you know what you get from Russo. She brilliant on the turn, right foot, left foot there. She just couldn't quite get the connection to get it creeping in the right side of the post. But one of the things that I can say is a positive for Manchester United this season is when they have made mistakes, when they have gone behind, it's their response, their reaction. They go straight down the other end of the pitch and they get that goal back. This will be a test for Brighton to see if they can hold on to this lead for the rest of this half.
And Brighton again with the thought of coming forwards. That will be interesting to see as the game develops, whether they keep on with what has been, as a whole, an attacking approach. Yes, they've defended well, but they've certainly committed bodies forwards. So Manchester United are trying to do now. Russo fires it into Zoe Morse. Manchester United will have another opportunity to test that Brighton back line, trailing this shock scoreline for Mark Skinner's side.
Yeah, they have committed bodies forward as well as defending hard, and that takes a lot of effort. So it'll be interesting how well they can last with that.
Toon's delivery is high. Williams does enough. Russo! Whistle's already gone. And that spares the blushes of Alessia Russo, who couldn't find the target. And I'm not sure she heard that whistle either.
It's a brilliant delivery in from Ella Toon in that right area. Lydia Williams comes for the cross, doesn't really make any contact. I think it's the back post area where the free kick's been given. not too sure on the contact there. But thankfully for Brighton, it was given. And thankfully for Alessia Russo, who, as you said, fired over, it was given.
Yes, let off all rounds for Brighton really there. Manchester United fans want a free kick. They have retained possession. Here is Battier. Letizia. Garcia. Oh, brilliant run this by Lucia Garcia. Outstanding. Still going Garcia. Straight at Lydia Williams. Did she earn the right to take the shot on there? Or were there other options?
Oh, she definitely earned the right to take the shot on there. She turned this Brighton defence inside and out time and time again. See there, Poppy Pattinson. Then Kohlberg comes out. But for me, the shot's not good enough. She's got to be able to place that into the corner. Make Lydia Williams make a save that's got to be pushed out into dangerous areas with lots of bodies, or fire it with more power into one of those top corners. She's got the ability to do it.
Would have been an outstanding goal. But it's her side that have the advantage.
This is where the mentality slightly changes, though. You go from being underdogs with no expectation to taking the lead and suddenly thinking, look, this is possible. We're on our way to Wembley here, and that's where the mentality switches. So it will be interesting to see how that affects Brighton's players. Does it mean they'll drop off slightly, or will they keep going the way they're going? And the way they're playing at the moment is asking lots of questions of Manchester United.
Morse with the ball forward. Turner is there for Manchester United. Forward by Letizia off Sarri. Battier. Zelen. Blundell forward to Galton. Russo will chase this. Up against Morse. He's just doing enough to hold her ground there, Zoe Morse. It's good defending.
Brilliant defended by Morse, forcing Alessia Russo backwards, not giving her the opportunity to turn and face you up and drive through on goal, pick a play, pick a ball through, forcing her backwards and standing up and not making the foul as well.
Manchester United still come though. Danger down this left-hand side, it's behind Galton, Battier's drive, Ladd will try and place it and can only place it straight into the arms of Lydia Williams. Well, it was Sarri's efforts that caused the issue, but this has gone down as a Mary Earp's own goal.
You see here as Sarri's driving infield with the ball, Badger's showing her down the line. Looks like it should be a comfortable claim for Mary Earps there. Whether she doesn't get her feet across in time, just parries the complete wrong direction, and one which she won't want to see time and time again, I'm sure.
Kohlberg away at the back for Brighton. Well, they're not used to trailing, Manchester United. Particularly at Leeds Sports Village. They've lost just once here all season. That was against Chelsea in the WSL. Both of their league defeats, incidentally, this season have been to Chelsea, but they trail the WSL's bottom side by a goal to nil in this Women's FA Cup semi-final. And Brighton are coming forward again. Here is Katie Robinson up against Blundell, who wins that particular instalment of that particular battle. And now here goes Ella Toone for Manchester United. Russo. Good foot in to dispossess her from Kuhlberg. Comes to Garcia. Battier as an option. Garcia gets the delivery across herself, and Williams is there.
A good opportunity there for Manchester United, and it's probably one of the first times that we've seen Ella Toone pick the ball up centrally and drive forward into the space. She hasn't been driving forward with it as much today as we've seen in the past, and that's where she can cause problems, because she can then slide Alessia Russo in, who couldn't quite get her shot away this time. But that's where Manchester United need to improve on if they're going to get back in this game.
Here is Russo, 1 minute of added time. Can Manchester United force themselves level? Not with defending like that from Brighton. Bance brings it away. Robinson dispossessed. United throw.
Hannah Blundell defending really strongly there against Katie Robinson. She knows that she's been up against it today. She's been a threat throughout the whole first half, but these last couple of 1v1s that she's had, she's come out on top, so that will do her confidence no end of good going into this half-time break.
Decision goes against Brighton. And it will be a yellow card as well.
Looks like Katie Robinson getting a little bit frustrated of the fact that Hannah Blundell was getting the better of her there. Hannah Blundell ending up on the floor and Katie Robinson with a yellow card.
And the referee with the half-time whistle, and Brighton with the leads at the break. A Mary Earp's own goal, forced by the cross from Beatrice Sarri, and a moment, Siobhan, that we just did not expect to see from a goalkeeper who has excelled so for Manchester United and England.
We didn't. She's been brilliant for the past year, 2 years, both for club and for country. And it's an uncharacteristic error from her. And as a goalkeeper, you don't always get the opportunity straight afterwards to go out there and make amends. As an outfield player, you can run around, you can put challenges in. As a goalkeeper, you've got to sit and wait for the next opportunity to redeem yourself. So for her, it's a mental game now, going into it saying, I need to keep my focus. I need to know that it was just a one-off, it's just a mistake. I'm still a brilliant goalkeeper, and I'm sure she'll be key in getting Manchester United back into this game and potentially to a semi-final.
And you can see Millie Turner going across to her there. Little pat on the back for Mary Earps. Even keepers of that experience need that encouragement. Outstanding half for Brighton. They lead Manchester United, the huge favourites for this game, by a goal to nil at the break.
Well, in the world of sport, it's a big day for the bookies today, not far away from here. Lots of horses racing around at Aintree. I'm not sure many of the bookmakers would have given you Mary Earp's OG as the difference between these two sides at half-time. And it set this up beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brighton have done really well. I think you compare their previous game against United a few weeks back, you know, they looked all over the place defensively. I think obviously Melissa's come in and got them organised. Obviously they've gone to a 4 at the back, where previous game they played a 5 at the back, and they just look a lot more solid and hard to break down.
Yeah, very compact, get into shape once the ball's turned over very, very quickly, and making it really hard for Man United to break them down. So a really good first half for them and going in 1-0. Brilliant start.
Yeah, Mary Earps, an exceptional goalkeeper, the FIFA Keeper of the Year. Of all the keepers in the WSL that you expect to make a mistake like that, she's not the one you'd pick out first, but they happen, don't they? And Sarri took an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, she's done really well here, and I think Brian exposed Man United down the sides as well, because both fullbacks of Man United are so aggressive with attacking that they leave so much space. So obviously Robertson occupied the two centre-backs there, but yeah, Sarri down the outside now, and sort of Brighton are already in there, so she just sort of really has to put it into a dangerous area. And I mean, Mary's going to be disappointed with that, because it's not like there's any real pressure from a Brighton player around her. I mean, Millie Turner's the nearest player to her, and she just sort of hits it backwards towards her own goal.
Yeah, very uncharacteristically done by Mary Earp. She will be more than frustrated with herself on that one. But you've got to give Brighton some credit. They've played really well in this first half, been driving down the wings, and you know, who would have expected them to go in 1-0 up? Great game.
The Greek international didn't get it. Of course, Earp's got the goal, but she will, I'm sure, be claiming the assist. She's only scored 3 goals for Brighton this season, but her involvement there could prove to be crucial. At the other end, we thought we were going to start off our analysis by congratulating and waxing lyrical about goalkeeping for a very different reason. Lydia Williams.
Yeah, she does really, really well here. The ball drops obviously to Russo. She takes it very early, and you know, Lydia was very equal to it. Saw it a bit late, blinded by Kohlberg, and what a save! That is a you know, match-winning save, if you like. So she'll be really, really pleased with that. Good stop, good save. And again, a bit Garcia dribbling in field. Ball comes across, fumbles this one slightly, but luckily that didn't go in the back of the net. So she'll be really pleased that that didn't go in after making a tremendous save and then scrambling a little bit towards the end of that one. Bounces awkwardly, loses sight of it, and luckily it falls the other side of the post.
When you have been kind of the question mark around you as a goalkeeper, because obviously she'd been part of a team that conceded 4 last time, and there were question marks about whether she would come in or not. You know, to have a moment like that quite early on in a game and feel that you are kind of in the moment as a goalkeeper is really important.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think as well, the previous game, there was a bit of a call whether she made an error on the first goal because she didn't come when obviously Gorton scored her header. She weren't brave enough and strong enough and punched it. So I think today it was important for her obviously to get the early save, and it's a big save as well, because really anywhere else and it's a goal, but she does fantastically to get it as well. We've seen it late and puts it over, but that'll do her wonders for her confidence as well.
I think we're playing musical microphones, so just, you know, pass it between you. Let's have a little look at what was potentially quite a decent penalty shout. I mean, she does get the ball, Pettersson, but it's the follow through, and I don't think you're happy with this, Hope.
No, if I was the manager, I think I would be screaming for this. You know, Garcia drives at her. Poppy does win the ball, but it's the follow through. It looks a bit reckless to me. So if I was the manager, I'd be screaming for a penalty here. You know, it's debatable, wins the ball, but, you know, for me, if I'm in the dugout, I'm saying penalty.
Gilly, what do you think? Because on the pitch, when it happened, you Hope, was that a penalty? Because the first angle we saw was he was from behind. But the players didn't react, and that always kind of tells you, doesn't it, on the pitch, what the players do. It's different in the managerial dugout. Yeah,
and I think for me, as an ex-player, if I'm doing that tackle, I'm probably thinking I'm going to leave one on you here, and I would have thought that it wouldn't have been a penalty if it had been the opposition team, and I would have been calling for a penalty, because in a way she doesn't need to do the follow through because she's won the ball originally. So you could say it's silly because you could cost your team a penalty, but the defender in me is a bit like, I like the tackle.
The manager in me is like, give the penalty.
Now, the Brighton defence has been a source of many of their problems this season, but today, you mentioned just how good the back four have looked, moved from a back five, but it was a team defensive effort as well.
Yeah, really good effort, I must say. I think they've been sturdy, I think they've been tough, I think they've been well organised. I think you look at Gorton, who's done well this season, Alessia Russo's done well this season. We've seen very little of them. They've banked up really, really well and denied Man United space and opportunity, and that's credit to them. Been really resolute throughout, working, you know, along the ball, along the line, and just, you know, blocking every run, every pass, and done really well for me so far.
And a team that's conceded 50 goals this season, you know, if you haven't been watching them lots, what was striking, I felt, Gilly, was also not just that they were doing, you know, they were doing the job they had to do well, but also they had a confidence about them in defence. When a team's been rocky, you know, and there's something goes wrong, the odd pass goes awry, or, you know, they miss a ball, it can kind of rock them. They looked like somehow in the last week or so under Melissa Phillips, they've managed to kind of get that mojo back.
Yeah, and I'm not sure obviously what she said to them obviously since going in, but it just seems like the pressure's off them a little bit. You know, I think obviously it's sort of seen as a free hit because it's not the WSL. You know, obviously they've got the pressure of the relegation fight there, whereas this is, you got a chance to go to Wembley, you got a chance to be in the FA Cup final, to express yourself, play with a bit of freedom. But they just seem to all know what each other's doing, and they're on the same wavelength. And when you can able to sort that out with a team, and you're able to make a team more defensively resolute, it helps wonders going forward.
And then going forwards, they've also had chances, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they've done really well. Obviously, they've looked a lot for Katie Robinson in the wide areas. She's been a threat, you know, gets behind Hannah Blundell here, you know, bodies in the box, which probably they've lacked before, even though it's a 3v2, and probably someone in that back pocket. But, you know, they've tried the counter. You know, Rob Katie again, making that advanced run. She decides to give it to Elizabeth Turland on the left when probably she would have been better off going down the right side, simply because of Katie's pace. You know, Elizabeth hasn't quite got the pace of Katie Robinson, so that one unfortunately cut out. Again, you know, Hannah Blundell struggling, bodies in the box 3v2, but previously you would have said that Brighton really struggled to get bodies in the box. So the fact that they're getting it in those wide areas and players are joining in is credit to them. And here again, perhaps she could have probably taken it on and gone 1v1. Again, the covering by Turner and Mayer snuffs that one out. But again, I think they've done really well, and credit to them, because it's been a bit difficult season for them.
Well, you know better than anyone, Hope, what a long journey it is up here for these Brighton fans.
A long way.
And they will be absolutely thrilled with what they've seen in that first half. Not just the fact that their team are 1-0 up in this FA Cup semi-final, the performance as well from the team who are rock bottom at the moment of the WSL. Let's not forget, though, Manchester United have scored 21 goals in their last 6 games. So I don't think they are out of this one yet. Plenty more coming up on the BBC for you.
Follow a band of misfits that want to prove that being an outsider is being part of something special.
This school is all about rebirth. Chance to shed all that baggage from the past and rise up from the ashes.
This is a really bad idea.
Everyone's got a story.
You got a problem with Layla? You come talk to me, all right?
Everyone's got a past.
Jealousy stinks, miss. Someone's got liven things up around here.
Phoenix Rise. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
And we've got loads more women's sport to look forward to on the BBC. More action from the Women's Six Nations tomorrow. France hosts Scotland. France looking for their 3rd consecutive win to match England, who won earlier today. Coverage starts at 3:05 on BBC iPlayer. On Wednesday, we've got more women's football. It is a big one in the WSL. Could it be a title decider even? Top of the table, Manchester United are hosting Arsenal. That's on BBC 3 at 7:05. Tomorrow's second Women's FA Cup semi-final sees Aston Villa host current holders Chelsea. Coverage starts on BBC One at 1:50. And one of Aston Villa's lionesses, Rachel Daly, caught up with Joe Curry yesterday ahead of the game.
You've reached the 20-goal mark this season across all competitions. You must have a favourite.
I would probably say the City one, the first game of the season.
Daly will curl! What a goal!
I think that was probably my favourite one, just because of the way it happened, and obviously winning that game was massive. But there's a few, I could pick a few actually, but that's probably my favourite one.
What's Carla Ward, your manager, said to you about the way she wants you to play, apart from go and score me a bagload of goals?
Yeah, she wants me to play with freedom, pick up the ball in areas, you know, where typically maybe number 9 wouldn't, and yeah, just play with a bit of freedom and enjoyment, and more so just being in and around the box.
Now, being a striker for Villa, I'm sure, is a lot of responsibility, but you have responsibilities at home as well. How's your dog?
She's amazing. I've actually got her with me. I bring her in every day, so she's here.
She's here?
Yeah.
Can we see her?
Of course.
Amazing. Hello, sausage. Hi.
Yeah. She sits in the changing room. She's got her own space. She's got her own bed. The girls are actually fuming if I don't bring her in. Everyone loves the FA Cup, and the beauty of it is that anything can happen. We've had not the easiest run, obviously playing 2 WSL sides. You know, I always say if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best, and that's something we need to look for on Sunday.
She's done very well, hasn't she, Rachel Daly, since she's come back to play in the WSL, but Hope Powell's not having dogs in the changing rooms.
No, definitely not.
It is an interesting semi-final, certainly. One that on paper, ahead of today, you think would be the one that would be a bit tighter and harder to call. Well, this one's proving a really exciting game that could end up being a bit of a shocker there. Do Chelsea, looking for their third consecutive FA Cup trophy, go in as favourites for you?
Yeah, I think they do, but I think as well, again, they played each other before the international break, and I think there was so much hype that Chelsea had come off the back of the Champions League. They're going to be tired, they're going to be fatigued. Can Villa go at them? And Villa was a disappointment, you know, and obviously Chelsea won the game, but won it quite comfortably. They didn't trouble them. So I think you'll see a different game again because, like I said, it's the FA Cup, you know, that sort of freedom, and you sort of get the free pass to be able to go to Wembley. So I think it'll be a different result. I fancy Chelsea, but we'll see.
Well, Mary Earps is out perhaps a little bit earlier than normal. She just wants to get her confidence back, get her eye back in the game. She'll be wanting to put that Rick behind her. That Rick, though, has seen Brighton take the lead in the first half. Not something that many were predicting around here, because Manchester United, as league leaders, came into this as absolute favourites, having beaten Brighton 4-0 in their previous two encounters. Here's a reminder of what happened in the first 45 minutes.
Place at Wembley on the line.
You could see the referee giving that.
A bit of a scramble inside the area, and what a save that is! Manchester United with their tails up. No, she's not kept it out! Shock scoreline. Still going, Garcia. Brighton with the leads at the break.
Yeah, a great first half for Brighton. Not just the fact that they took that lead into the dressing room at half-time, and I'm sure Melissa Phillips will be thrilled with what she saw out there, but just the improvement overall in that team performance, Hope. It will change, you know, kind of what she's saying to her players in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody was expecting that. 1-0 to Brighton at half-time. But, you know, they're playing with freedom and fun. It's a one-off game. You know, they're really going for it, really expressing themselves. And I think they're doing really, really well, so it's really good to see.
But we know this team in red, Gilly, they can score goals, can't they? And Manchester United are looking to win their first trophy since they won promotion to the WSL. They're top of the table, and they were looking for a passage through to the Wembley final for the first time.
Yeah, and I expect Mark's obviously been in there at half-time and said this is not the standard that we expect, you know, and I'm expecting them to come out in the second half and really raise their game. Obviously, he's got players that he can bring off the bench, for example, Nikita Paris, who will bring lots of energy, but I think they just need to try and find another way to try and break Brighton down because they're defending very well.
Well, they were out first, Manchester United. They're in a huddle, but it is Brighton who are out now, taking to the pitch. Melissa Phillips taking her place again in the dugout as we get going for the second half of this, the first of two Vitality FA Cup semi-finals this weekend. Let's rejoin Siobhan and Vicky.
Thanks, Gabby. Well, well, well. 45 minutes for Brighton and Hove Albion, Siobhan, to hold on to this lead and cause the shock of the season in the women's game in England. What a remarkable result this would be for Melissa Phillips in her first game in charge. Yes, we have a half to play, but my word, that half-time team talk, that first half couldn't have gone much better for this side.
It couldn't have gone much better. They've scored a goal, they're still keeping a clean sheet, they're halfway to Wembley. It's an unbelievable opportunity for the side, but as you said, there's still a half to play, and they're playing against Manchester United, who have scored so many goals this season. They weren't firing in that first half, but Lydia Williams, I'm sure, is going to be under a significant amount more pressure in this second half.
So no changes for either side at half-time. Manchester United behind as they get this second half underway. A reminder, both of these sides looking to reach their first major final in their history. This is Manchester United's first time in the FA Cup semi-finals. They only reformed as a professional outfit in 2018, but they've never got this far in the competition before. Brighton have, second time in the last 3 years, but never through to the final stage. Wembley awaits. Will it await Manchester United? Will it await Brighton and Hove Albion? Bottom of the WSL, leads top of the WSL. But here come Manchester United. Great driving run by Bassier, and Galton scores inside the opening minutes of this second half. Oh, she loves playing Brighton, this woman. 5 goals in her last 4 games against them, and there is the response that Mark Skinner's side needed. 1-1.
A brilliant response, and it's Leah Galton again. But it all comes from Ona Badje. We said in the first half she needs to get higher up the pitch. She's dangerous, and the ball she delivers across goal is phenomenal. Puts it in the right area. Leah Galton's attacking that space and fires it into the back of the net, leaving Lydia Williams with absolutely no chance. The cutback there from Badje, that's why for Manchester United, she needs to be in attacking positions for them to be successful.
And all that hard work from Lydia Williams and Brighton from the first half is undone. All square at Leigh Sports Village. And whatever he said at half-time, whether that had an impact, whether the Manchester United players coming together, we saw them in a little huddle. As Beatrice Sari is spoken to by referee Kirsty Dowell. It will be a yellow card for Sari.
I was just about to say it. I'd love to be a fly in the wall in the Manchester United dressing room at half-time to hear what Mark Skinner did actually say, to ignite that response within, 45 seconds. And we can see here the foul by Sari, which earned her the yellow card. The frustration you must feel after that first half performance to come out and concede immediately.
Here come Manchester United. Robinson with the interception. Kuhlberg taking on Zellem, fouled by Zellem.
It's important here that Brighton can regroup and keep their composure. They did so well in that first half that they don't just let that moment dictate the rest of this second half for them. They need to keep going where they left off and keep playing the way they did in that first half.
But Galton's on the charge once more. Russo waits in the centre. It's across to Toon. Manchester United are starting to click, and Brighton are rocking.
Brighton are rocking, and it's Leah Galton that's rocking them. You see here the way she dispossesses Morse from the ball. A fantastic delivery across. There's 3 Manchester United players waiting in that penalty box to put it in the back of the net. And Ella Toon, who uncharacteristically doesn't hit the target.
Well, she scored twice, Ella Toon, in the 4-0 victory over Brighton back in October. But again, a player of her quality. Not the easiest of finishes, but so much space. And you have to ask, Siobhan, where has the Brighton marking gone inside their own penalty area? A side who have struggled so to keep clean sheets. They're the only side without one in the WSL, but were so solid and resolute in that first half.
And that's where the mental aspect of football is so spoken about, not enough. When the goal goes in, to be able to keep your focus, to maintain that focus and to get yourself back on track is so important, and you need leaders on the pitch that can help you do that. And Brighton just haven't been able to regain that composure as such that they had in the first half since conceding that really, really early goal.
Well, it had all been going so well. Williams closed down by Russo, forward by Kuhlberg. Sigiotti. Robinson finds Lee. Turlands through the centre. Sari further to the left. Pattinson arriving to help out. But again, 4 players in and around the Brighton penalty area. Perhaps not the right call to take the shot from there.
No, perhaps not. I think their first touch wasn't good enough to warrant the shot. Took it away from her. Had her first touch been better, set herself up in front of goal, could have opened up for a lovely opportunity to take that strike. But positive from Brighton again. They're committing bodies in and around that 18-yard box, and that's the way that they're going to get at this Manchester United defence again.
And they're putting on the pressure from the goal kick as well. Here is Letitia, closed down by Lee. What a ball out that is, though. Her distribution, here Letitia. Still just 20 years old, but already such a key player for Manchester United. And been so for Brighton for so long. Bants. See it down.
Morse just forcing that a little bit. We didn't see Brighton do that in the first half. It was all very natural, very structured, playing short passes, keeping it safe, keeping possession when they regained it. There it was an unnecessary switch across. And the free kick given, and Manchester United given the opportunity to regain possession and attack again.
Tissier stands over this for Manchester United. It was Russo. Letitia. Turner. Letitia. Again, Manchester United trying to come in down the right-hand side. Battier, though, this time is dispossessed by Kuhlberg. Brighton play their way out of trouble. Loud with the header. Kuhlberg there, not once but twice. Here is Lee. This time it does look for the outlet of Robinson. Manchester United's with the interception. Robinson, though, once more. Morse. Interception by Lads. Falls nicely for Toon, trying to set Garcia away. No appeal there from Lucia Garcia as Poppy Pattinson comes away with the ball. Good anticipation by Battier. Trying to wriggle away from Sarri. Won't find Toon. Kuhlberg's there. And once again, Brighton under pressure. Play out well.
Good phase of possession and defensive shape again from Brighton, getting back to where they were in that first half, looking more organised, regaining a bit of their composure.
Here is Letitia. Battier. Toon. For Garcia. Kuhlberg is there for Brighton. Good pressure by Garcia. Manchester United throw. What have you made of her performance overall, Siobhan? Coming in the one change to the starting 11, Lucia Garcia for Manchester United.
She's done well. She's been tidy on the ball. She's created opportunities. She's turned that Brighton left side of defence inside and out. The one thing that's lacking for me so far today is end product. She needs to be a bit more clinical, a bit more ruthless when she's in front of goal, and then for me she's been brilliant.
Yeah, she did have that one solo run in the first half, which if she had stuck it away would have been absolutely outstanding goal. Tame effort in the end, saved easily by Williams. Turner's delivery. Flipped on towards Garcia. Oh, big shout for handball there, not given. Galton will keep it alive for Manchester United. Gets the delivery across, away by Morse. Galton once more. Manchester United keeping up the pressure over the head of Russo. Toon will get there. Battier just about does as well. That's very well played by Battier. Toon. Lad won't reach it. Toon once more to Battier. Manchester United building. Cleared away by Bance and Pattinson to Lee. Brighton now with a chance to counter, and Hayley Ladd decides to take one for the team, bringing down Zidiotti.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was necessarily deliberate. It's one that you could look at and say she's taken one for the team, but I think in that moment it was an accidental clip of the heels, but she would have been away, and I think rightfully. A free kick for Brighton and a yellow card as the kind of the professional foul, shall we say. But here we see with the clearance beforehand that came off her hand. It's a definite handball there in that 18-yard box.
I guess the question is it making the body unnaturally bigger? I mean, it's away from her. It comes off her own foot. They'll look at proximity, they'll consider that, and is the action of the arm itself natural? But again, Manchester United might ask the question, having had the penalty shouts in the first half and now the one in the second.
I'm sure they will ask the question, but for me, I don't think it's a penalty. But the way the rules are changing and being manipulated, and yeah, I lose track of what handball is and isn't on a weekly basis, and VAR doesn't give me much confidence either.
Here come Brighton. Zidiotti, ooh, good try. And Mary Earps redeems herself somewhat after that error in the first half. She needed that.
She did need that, and it's a brilliant save. Top hand is going, nestling in that top left-hand corner. Brilliant footwork to set herself up, and a flying save out for a corner ball. But as you said, she needed that. She did. She hadn't really touched the ball since that mistake. So it's a great opportunity for her to make that big save.
So triple change being made for Brighton. The first player off is Turland. She is replaced by their top scorer, Danielle Carter, who is often used as a substitute. But a change, Siobhan, that we would have expected to be made at some point, particularly with Brighton still very much in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Dan Carter is an FA Cup winner. She's got a wealth of experience, and she's a goal scorer. So she's somebody that Brighton definitely want on the pitch.
So Megan Connolly, the second player to come on, Libby Bantz making way. So straight strop in central midfield, although Connolly did play as part of a back five in the last match against Manchester United. The final player to make way, Pietra Kisari. She is replaced by Kaylee Green, who's recently returned from injury. And it was Sari's cross that led to that own goal from Mary Earps. 1-1 after Galton's early leveller in the second half. And Brighton with this corner. 3 new players to aim for. Danielle Carter was one of them. Manchester United get first contact, and Toon will bring it away. Looking for Russo. Well covered by Lee Gumin.
You look at that triple change from Brighton, and there's a wealth of experience coming onto the pitch for them. You often look at the teams in the lower half of the WSL, and sometimes there's question marks about the depth of the squad. Have they got enough to be able to make changes to impact a game at half-time, at 60 minutes? And this is a brilliant opportunity for Brighton with those 3 experienced players coming onto the pitch. Will strengthen the side.
Yes, I mean, you take just Danielle Carter, a 4-time FA Cup winner with Arsenal, scored the winner in the 2016 final against Chelsea as well. Manchester United will pursue this with Lucia Garcia, and Kuhlberg shepherding it behind.
A lot of Manchester United's better play coming down this right-hand side in the second half. Lucia Garcia there with the opportunity. But again, as I said before, it's Ona Badje for me that's the key. When she gets forward, she really makes Manchester United tick.
Well, Lucia Garcia's race is run. She is replaced as Manchester United make their first change of the game. And on comes the Scotland forward, Martha Thomas. Danielle Carter's ball forwards intercepted. Here is Letitia. Brighton have only avoided defeat against Manchester United in 2 of their previous 10 encounters. 1-1 here as we pass the hour mark at Leigh Sports Village. Fulberg's header. Pattinson forwards. Robinson. Dispossessed by her England teammate Ella Toone. Russo. Have we seen enough of Alessia Russo in this game, Siobhan? She's had some decent chances, drawing that excellent save from Lydia Williams in the first half.
I don't think she's had the service that she wants today. I think when Ella Toone is kept quiet, it often means that Russo's quiet as well, because Toone is often the one that finds her feet. When Ella Toone gets on the ball in those pockets, the first person she looks for is Alessia Russo. And Ella Toone hasn't really been that involved in the game today. She hasn't been able to pick up and drive the ball with the ball in those pockets, and therefore Alessia Russo in turn has been quite quiet as well.
Gotcha. Getting onto that. In the end, does concede the free kick, but again has been an influential player for Brighton in the centre of that midfield, and just picking up those little pockets of space, either in attack or in defence. Her positioning, her reading of the game is so key.
She has been. She's been very influential for Brighton, as you said, picking up the balls in those opportunities.
Here goes Russo, and now Thomas wins the corner.
Thomas is another player from that Manchester United squad that probably hasn't as much game time as she'd like to have. It's that wide right position that Mark Skinner tends to make changes with. So she's a player, when she gets that opportunity, will want to come on and prove that she's worthy of a start.
Yes, it's her 23rd appearance of the season, but mostly used as a substitute, only 1 league start. Now on in this FA Cup semi-final as Manchester United play the corner short. Batia's delivery, straightforward in the end.
Poor delivery there from Mona Badje. She's got the quality to provide so much more for Manchester United. There are a lot of people there in and around that 6-yard box that were looking for a whipped-in delivery that Badje couldn't quite find this time around.
Carter, Robinson down, free kick. And Brighton want more, and they will eventually see the yellow card brandished too.
Really clever that play there from Robinson. Got a great touch past Maya Letizia, who had no choice really than to make the foul. Quite a painful one on that foot there. Katie Robinson still on the floor receiving some treatment. A brilliant touch for her, and a player that Brighton will want to make sure is fully fit, firing for the rest of this second half, as she's key to their performance.
Yes, 2 young England players coming together as Melissa Phillips watches on. 2 players in Robinson and Letizia, who will hope to squeeze their way into that England squad for the World Cup. She's a player who's made herself unavailable for international duty at the moment, really appreciates the work-life balance of not playing for England, but tell you what, if she ever changed her mind.
Most definitely, and you can see, we spoke about it pre-game, about the number of goals she's added to her performances this season. It's not just assists from those wide areas. She's finding herself in central areas a lot more often, and she's being a bit greedier, which I think for me is key. Before, she'd be in those opportunities She'd be having those opportunities, but she'd be passing to others.
Having to defend now, and does so, winning the header, Galton. Brighton trying to keep it alive. Finally poised this midway through the second half.
It definitely is. After Manchester United scored such an early equaliser, you'd have fully expected them to go on and take this game by the scruff of the neck and go on and get maybe another one or two. But credit to Brighton, they've got their shape back in, and they've been attacking with numbers when they've had the opportunity to as well.
Danielle Carter dispossessed though, Galton down, free kick. But that's it, isn't it, Siobhan? It's credit to Brighton, the way that they haven't crumbled.
Definitely, and as I've said it a few times today, you would not look at this game today and say Brighton were bottom of the WSL, fighting for their lives to remain in this league. And that's got to be so much of a positive for Melissa Phillips to there see and say, we can go out there and comfortably avoid relegation in this league if we put on performances like this week in, week out.
Well, they're 1 point behind Leicester at the moment, Brighton, but with 2 games in hand. And that could prove key. As you say, the encouragement they'll take from this performance. But right now, they can't think about that. They've got a final to get to, the first major one in their history. That's what Manchester United are looking for as well. History will be made for one side. As the free kick goes against Manchester United in what was a good position for them. Kirsty Dow, though, not happy.
It was good defending there by Pattinson against Martha Thomas. Not sure the referee necessarily needed to blow up for the free kick. I think Pattinson had won it anyway. A little bit weak, if you ask me. You want the game to flow. You want that physical nature.
Carter beaten in the air by Millie Turner. Zellum to Letizia. Thomas is off down the right. Pattinson is there. Kuhlberg misses the header. Doesn't miss the block. Pattinson's clearance.
Brighton starting to get a little bit deeper. How hard they've worked in this opening 68, 70 minutes of the game. It's going to be interesting to see how much left they've got left in the tank for this remainder 70 minutes, because they've been working so hard to keep their shape, keep organised, prevent Manchester United from creating opportunities, and that takes a lot out of you.
Yes, both clubs have players away on international duty as well over the recent break. Russo, what a ball. Oh, Toon almost with the lovely take. Brighton, though, playing themselves into trouble, and they're fortunate to get away with that. Unnecessary.
Really unnecessary. Brighton got lucky with the slip from Ella Toon, but the clearance wasn't good enough. You've got to be grateful. I think Connolly might have got a foot in to prevent Thomas from getting her shot away, but a warning sign for Manchester United.
Well cut in by Hannah Blundell. Here is Galton. And again, you see the bodies forward that Brighton are committing. Georgia Fox, their number 2, now getting back to the halfway line, but Manchester United under real pressure inside their own half. They played through it well, though. Russo loses out. To Thomas. Early delivery. Also on the stretch. Lee on the stretch too, loses out to Batia. Thomas, cute back heel. Batia. Plenty of red shirts to aim for if she can find the delivery. Not yet. Zellum. Thomas under pressure. Now the delivery does come in. Kuhlberg away. Zellum, urged to shoot, does do so. Brighton with the block. Here is Green. Intelligently inside to Robinson, who sees Carter in a bit of space. Pattinson, risky. Kuhlberg just got there ahead of Russo, but it puts Brighton under pressure and they lose possession. Toon won't reach Galton again. Morse is there. Anticipated well by Zellem. Brighton just looking a little tired all of a sudden in terms of distribution. And here goes Russo! Manchester United hit the front. And it's the former Brighton player. A finish of real quality from Manchester United's and England's Alessia Russo.
It started with brilliant anticipation from Katie Zellem. She drives forward, slides Alessia Russo in, and from that distance made absolutely no mistake in firing it into that top corner. If you want a goal to send you through to the FA Cup final, that sure is one.
Well, it's not dissimilar to the chance that she had, although from a different position in the first half, because she's falling as she takes it, but the control she gets on it, and this time Lydia Williams unable to tip it over the bar, and Manchester United have the lead against Brighton.
It's a brilliant finish, and we were speaking a few minutes ago about the fact that she hadn't been in the game too much, but when you've got a player like Alessia Russo, she doesn't need to be in the game too much. When she gets the opportunity, she's ruthless and she will hit that back of the net, and she did that with some force then.
On to double figures for the season now, Russo, as is Leah Galton. They're having their own little battle for Golden Boot winner at Manchester United, both on 10 for the campaign now. And is that the goal that sends Manchester United to a major final for the first time in their history? They've won a free kick, but with how Brighton have been in this game, you get the sense that Manchester United will just want that extra goal to make this safe, because it's not a game that's felt safe at any point for Manchester United and Mark Skinner.
It hasn't, but at this point in time, Brighton have now got to come out a little bit more. They have to score a goal to stay in this cup competition. So it might open up more pockets and more opportunities for Manchester United to exploit. It's that fine balance.
Can they exploit this set piece? High in by Zellem, headed on and claimed by Williams from Turner's efforts.
Millie Turner unmarked at that back post there. I had to see her get a little bit more power, a little bit more purchase on it. Driving in at that far post space, it was a great delivery into her. I think Millie Turner could definitely get on the score sheet a few more times for Manchester United in the season with her aerial ability.
Yeah, just the one goal for the campaign for Millie Turner. So great to see her featuring regularly though this season. Really struggled last season with dislocated kneecap. Not the first time she's done that in her career either. Ouch. Also a tear to one of the arteries in her neck, which was something that very few players have had to deal with, an unusual condition, but after missing the vast majority of last campaign has been such a regular, and here she is under pressure from Danielle Carter, doesn't deal with it, Carter in, Carter clinical, Brighton back in this, 2-2. What a cup tie, and that's what the experience of a four-time FA Cup winner can bring from the bench. Brighton's top scorer at it again. Manchester United 2, Brighton 2.
When Danielle Carter came onto this pitch, you know that she's got goals in her, you know that she's got experience, and if she was given that opportunity, she was going to take it. She's on the wrong side of Millie Turner there, uses her strength, uses her body to get across her. Millie Turner has to do better here, she's got to be strong. Dan Carter gets ahead of her, and from that point, she's not going to miss from there. A clinical, composed finish into that bottom corner, leaving Mary Earps with no chance of saving it. And what a game we have on our hands.
Stunning from Brighton. So few gave them a hope coming into this match. Bottom of the WSL against the league leaders. The league leaders who beat them 4-0 in the top flight just 2 weeks ago. But under their new manager, Melissa Phillips, they have given Manchester United a game this afternoon. And on the balance of play, she will feel her side utterly deserve this.
They most definitely do. And we talk about the magic of the FA Cup, and some people might think it's a bit cynical, but anyone that's here today, supporting Brighton particularly, will see that magic.
But here come Manchester United. The ball from Thomas is too strong. And Williams will take it into the 6-yard box. Well, could we be heading for extra time? Could we possibly be heading for penalties in this Women's FA Cup semi-final?
Will you still want a player of the match if it's 2-2?
Rachel Williams preparing to come on for Manchester United. Here is that change being made. Alessia Russo is making way. And Rachel Williams, another player with huge experience. Another FA Cup winner, won it with Birmingham back in 2012. Comes on. What do you make of that change, Siobhan? I mean, she scored 5 goals this season. Rachel Williams, she's almost exclusively used as a substitution, but Russo's a big player.
She is, but she's not a player that regularly plays 90 minutes. Mark Skinner often makes changes with that front three, and Rachel Williams is a player that comes on in that position and has been doing really well. As you said, she's been scoring goals, and she's a target for United, especially if Brighton start to tire at the back. She's got that physical presence, she's good with her feet, she's good in the air, and she's a goal scorer. And at the moment, that's exactly what Manchester United needs.
She's a player that Mark Skinner knows so well as well. Played under him at Birmingham. Brighton with this set piece, and Brighton making the point that the wall of Manchester United is not the required 10 yards, so Manchester United just dispense with the wall.
Hi there, sorry, did we have a decision about man of the match if there's no...
It's back towards their own penalty area.
Perfect, thank you.
Lovely layoff by Lee Gu-min. Pattinson's delivery got a little deflection. Letitia under pressure does well. Here is Pattinson. Almost dispossessed by Toon. Is dispossessed by Toon. Batcher forwards. Thomas. Careful there because Castle was lurking and under pressure. Letitia just decided to get rid of it. Here is Kaylee Green. Straight into Letitia once more. And you do wonder whether Brighton at some stage might try and see this out, but looking at the way they're playing, you just can't see them changing this game plan that served them so well in this match. It's always front foot.
It is, they don't need to change it. They're playing well, they're confident, they're defending well as well. It's not as if Lydia Williams has been called into a number of top saves to keep her team in the game. It's Mary Earps that's made probably the save of the half to keep her team in it.
Kaylee Green penalised for the foul on Hannah Blundell. Does just catch the back of Blundell's foot there. You have to say, for both of the Brighton goals, yes, it was a superb composed finish by Danielle Carter, but both errors from Manchester United defensively. One from Mary Earps, Brighton's opener in the first half, one from Millie Turner.
Most definitely, and it's very uncharacteristic of Millie Turner there. She's had a brilliant season. I think at the time you were actually singing her praises. I'm not sure if that counts as the commentator's curse, which is a real thing, as we've definitely seen here today.
Is that what players and ex-players always blame it on?
Definitely. But she's been brilliant for Manchester United. She's another one that mentally now needs to refocus and get herself back in the game.
Had to finish it though, Carter, and she did with aplomb. Brighton come forward once more. just under 10 minutes plus added time to play. Wembley's still in the balance. A first major final in their history, still in the balance for both of these sides. Green draws the same from Earps. Flag is up anyway. But another warning sign for Manchester United.
Another warning sign and another smart stop from Maria. She's been the busier of the two, and she probably is offside there. We saw the first pass go in and the question marks got raised, but the second pass, yes, the referee, the assistant referee, was correct.
Forward by Le Tissier. Le Tissier. Thomas wins the header towards Rachel Williams. Kohlberg is there and Williams gets the better of her brilliantly. Galton's in the centre. Kohlberg just does enough to put Williams off, but the attack is still alive for Manchester United. Hayley Ladd with the drive and Williams with the save. Well, play stopped with Pattinson down, but Williams had to play to the whistle. Shot needed saving.
It was a smart stop by Lydia Williams, held on to it really well to prevent the corner, but for me it's the challenge by Pattinson which has got herself injured, but it's a fantastic challenge. Martha Thomas was ready to pull her foot back, take that shot, and it's an outstanding challenge from Pattinson and a comfortable save from Lydia Williams in the end.
Do I do those promos, Matt? So a chance for both players to regroup and a chance for us to tell you what's coming up here on the BBC. Aston Villa against Chelsea. It's got a lot to live up to. This has been a thrilling first Women's FA Cup semi-final. That is tomorrow. Our coverage starts at 1:50 on BBC One. And then Manchester United back here in league action on Wednesday. Huge match against title rivals Arsenal. Coverage starts at 7:05 on BBC Three. So Pattinson, having received treatment, is back on. After challenging with Le Tissier, away by Zellum. Dalton with the header. Morse is there. Won't quite reach our commentary position, but Siobhan was poised and ready.
I was there ready to make the save or duck out the way.
Blundell to Blundell once more. Are we to see late drama here at Lee Sports Village? To Zellum. Le Tissier. Here is Berthier taking on Robinson and winning the free kick. Well, they're calling for a second yellow here for referee Kirsty Dow. Katie Robinson with her heart in her mouth. Both sets of players being sent away. This looks like last warning, Siobhan Chamberlain. And indeed it is.
It does look like the last warning, and you can see the relief that she's feeling right there. It's a foul. I'm not convinced it's a yellow card. You've seen them given potentially, but for that to turn into a yellow card that gets her sent off would be extremely harsh.
So just the free kick for Manchester United. Zelim's delivery is high. Flicked away by Green. Gumin. Looking for Carter. Does get the touch. Won't keep it in. That's too much of Carter there.
I think Carter's touch just took it away from her a little bit. Had it been a little bit slighter on the touch, should have got the turn and got in behind.
Forward by Letizia. Flicked on by Thomas. She won't get there ahead of Kuhlberg, but Kuhlberg can only play it to Thomas. Comes to Williams, nice control. Thomas once more. Bolton's on the move. Again, Brighton make the block. Chance of handball, not once but twice. Still going, Manchester United. Thomas won't keep that in. More appeals from Batty for the second one from Pattinson rather than the first.
I think when you see the connection here, her arms are within the width of her body. They're not extending it, they're not making her body any bigger. Yes, it hits her arms. It potentially could be a bit silly to have your arms there to make the risk, but it's within the frame of her body. I think it'd be a very harsh penalty to give.
Time ticking away. Every ball so hotly contested because so much is at stake. Green. Morse. Lindell right up there putting on the pressure. And now on Lydia Williams. Robinson is down. Brighton play on. Here is Kaylee Green, turn her across. Georgia Fox. Space for Zigiotti. She brought down there by Thomas. Referee Kirsty Dow says no. And here comes Zelim for Manchester United. And now she finds Williams. And the flag stays down. It's Rachel Williams with the goal that could send Manchester United to Wembley and could bring them to their first major final in their history. Rachel Williams off the bench for Mark Skinner's side, and late on they lead Brighton by 3-2.
And that is why Mark Skinner brought Rachel Williams onto the pitch. Her experience, her clinicalness in front of goal, a ruthless finish into the back of the net to make it 3-2 and potentially seal Manchester United's place in the FA Cup final at Wembley. For me, you've got to look at the potential naivety of Brighton though. Katie Robinson was sat down on the ground for a good 2 minutes before Manchester United scored. They had the opportunity to kick the ball out of play, yet she wasn't there to defend when Manchester United broke. And it was her side of the pitch that was exploited for Manchester United's potential winner.
Could it be a history-making goal for Manchester United? Brighton making changes. Katie Robinson is off. And Brianna Visali is on. And there was a yellow card in the aftermath of that goal. It looked as though it went to the Brighton captain, Julia Zigiotti, who will get confirmation on that for protesting to our referee Kirsty Dow. But the protests falling on deaf ears. Thomas going down. Goal kick Brighton. Visali with the challenge on Patje. Well, this match has seen twists, it's seen turns. And Aoife Mannion is the latest to enter the fray for Manchester United. Leah Galton being replaced. She's played her part, getting Manchester United level early in this second half. What a second half it's been. All smiles at the moment. Well, there are more lines to be written in this story. Time ticking away for Brighton. Can they force themselves back into this match? Zidiotti dispossessed by Hayley Ladd. Kullberg across quickly. Forward by Zellum. Rachel Williams head down will chase, cleared away by Lydia Williams for Brighton. Katie Zellum has to shoot with Williams out of her goal, but all Manchester United need to do is keep possession as Thomas will chase. Kullberg, unorthodox backfield clearance. Zellum. Here is Hayley Ladd. Zellum. Ligum in with the interception, now Carter. Can't keep it in. Manchester United throw, and they are edging closer to history. Well, so many twists, so many turns, Siobhan. Makes it rather tricky to pick a player of the match. But who have you gone for?
It definitely does. It's a game that's teetered on the knife edge throughout. There's been no standout specific player throughout the entire 90, but one standout player with a standout moment is Rachel Williams, with what looks like, for now, is the winning goal. So she, for me, is my vitality player of the match.
The key impacts off the bench. The key goal that could make history for Manchester United. Can Ella Toone wrap it up for them? She's got Blundell as an option. Here is Ladd. Now Blundell. And she will take it to the corner. Brighton will get the foot in. Will they get the free kick with Green? Kirsty Dow says no. Time is ticking away. Zellum forward to Toone. Into the corner once more. Manchester United throw, and they're nearly there.
They are nearly there. Now it's about running this clock down, using their experience, taking the sting out of the game, and making sure Brighton don't have that one last chance.
It looks as though his changes have made the difference. They've been pushed all the way by Brighton. The game has been in the balance. But Manchester United look to have found a way. Brighton have the free kick though. Final few seconds. Is their time. Kullberg. Ladd forward for Manchester United. Williams down. Using all that experience once again. And the game is almost up for Melissa Phillips' side. They've more than played their part. They've been outstanding, Brighton. But in the end, Manchester United have found a way. Forward by Le Tissier. Thomas will hold it up. Dispossessed as Brighton desperately try and get the ball forward. Georgia Fox, still we play on. History for Manchester United. Rachel Williams sends them to Wembley. It's their first major final in their history. They're on the brink of glory, Mark Skinner's side, as they pursue their first major trophy. It could be the league, it could still be the FA Cup, courtesy of that woman, Rachel Williams. A thriller against Brighton and Hove Albion, who more than played their part, made a mockery of the gulf between these sides in the WSL table. But in the end, it's Manchester United who come through. They are heading to the FA Cup final.
Thank you so much to our commentary team today, Siobhan and Vicky. And that was a thrilling FA Cup semi-final. And Manchester United really were put on the ropes by a Brighton side who came here with very little expectation, certainly from the neutrals, that they were going to give them a test, let alone put them to the sword as they did today so many times. And Manchester United will breathe a massive sigh of relief that they came through that test, Gilly.
Yeah, I mean, that game had everything. You know, they score within literally the first few minutes of coming out in the second half. You know, and then obviously then you think then it's 2-1. I then thought that it was then going to go maybe potentially 3-1, 4-1. But Brighton stayed in the game, and obviously then Dan Carter getting that equaliser. And then we're sitting there thinking, is it going to go to extra time? But, I mean, Brighton are going to be kicking themselves because Katie Robinson was down for a good couple of minutes and they didn't kick the ball out. And then they go in a counter-attack, obviously her space that she'd left, and then put it away.
And for their new coach, Melissa Phillips, their new manager, she is going to see so many hopeful moments there. She's going to see so many reasons to be optimistic, reasons that she can keep this side in the WSL.
Yeah, I think if you look at that display today, they've got every chance of staying in the WSL. I thought they were tremendous today. Every player put a real shift in. We're in it right until the last minute. And I think, you know, respect to Brighton, because Man United were putting the ball in the corner to try and kill time. Tremendous performance, tremendous game, but only one winner today, Man United.
Tremendous second half as well. Shall we go back then to what turned out to be the winning moment, the super sub. She's come on so many times this season in the WSL for Manchester United and got the goals for them, but perhaps none more important than this one this season.
Yeah, what a player to bring on. I mean, she's done that throughout the season. You know, a bit of a hustle bustle in the middle there, running in that channel on the side. A great ball from Zellum, placed it through, really calm, shows her experience there, and it's a game winner.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure there was causes their potential offside, but I think she holds her run really well, and she's one of them players as well. She's had to learn to change her game as she's got older, in the sense of she's been a starter, now she's a player who's coming off the bench, but she's brought a lot of experience to this young Man United side. And speaking to her previously a few weeks back when they played in the league, she just said about making sure that they stay humble and they stay focused on the job, and that's what she's been brought in for, is that experience. But she was brilliant, and fantastic finish for the goal.
And that Mark Skinner celebration said it all there, didn't it? For the first time in their history, Manchester United are going to an FA Cup final at Wembley in about a month's time. Will they still be top of the WSL then? That's the other job they've got to do. Shall we go back and have a little look at the goals that created this story? The one that I really want to revisit is Danielle Carter's goal, because she came on the Brighton sub and she's such a big player, had such an incredible career, and when you can still do this and affect a game to make it 2-2, Dan Carter. And this was a moment, wasn't it, that really gave the game jeopardy?
Yeah, great experience to bring on. Turner there, I think, makes a mess of it. But I think Dan Carter shows her experience, actually, you know, fighting until the end, really calm, collected, and that is a top-class finish. You know, brings them right back into the game at 2-2. I think here you see Turner should have done better with that, cleared it, you know, puts it past a very experienced goalkeeper, and that is a top-class finish.
Briefly, Julie, with the experience that they have got, Brighton, you know, they've got every reason to be hopeful about retaining their WSL place, especially players like Carter.
Yeah, most definitely. But I think as well, they just take that performance that they've done today and they take that into the league. I mean, Siobhan Champion said it. They didn't look like they was bottom of the table from that game, and they just have to take the confidence they can. Obviously, it's disappointing because it's an FA Cup semi-final, but there's so many positives that they can take today into the next week's game and then the rest of the WSL.
Well, this was supposed to be the semi-final that everybody thought was a fait accompli, one that didn't need any jeopardy adding to it because it was going to be Manchester United's all day long. Well, it proved to be in the end, but Brighton certainly, didn't they, give them a fantastic run for their money. Yeah, Brighton rocked the Reds, but eventually they rose to the challenge, and Manchester United are on their way to Wembley. From all of us, good evening.
Place at Wembley on the line. No, she's not kept it out. Shock scoreline.
Galton scores inside the opening minutes of this second half.
Giotti, ooh, good try. And here goes Russo! The Carter in, Carter clinical. Brighton back in this. And it's Rachel Williams.
History for Manchester United.
The Women's Super League across the BBC.